Good. So what? Obviously, Patrick, we're on this part. We're just kind of getting lined up here. Of first of all, we're asking the question: is there a market for medical billing? Now, 2018, and in the future. And we've got this slide up here that talks about from Entrepreneur Magazine that they actually have a book that any of the people that are on our webinar today could actually go purchase from Amazon.com. And Patrick, it just says that the market for medical billing is growing still exponentially with a 5.8% growth each year through the year 2024. Well, that's going to take us through the next few years, I believe.
Yeah, and here's proof that there's a market out there. I just got through interviewing one of our licensees who just signed up her first client. And so this happens all the time, every day.
And I think I'm actually on here, Eric.
Good, great.
I was linked here by our director of operations. Hey, there we go.
There you are. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's technology. What can we say? We're not in charge of this GoToWebinar thing, but sometimes it has a little glitch here and there.
You bet. Well, tell us a little bit more about the interview that you were just getting. You said you just got through doing.
Well, her name is Alice Andrade, and she is just a dynamic young lady. Her and her husband came to the training together. He was so excited about the whole thing. And then when he got back, he said, "Okay, honey, it's all yours. Take it and run." So she's got two little girls at home, but That's she awesome. Said, "Patrick, I just decided I'm going to do exactly what you guys told me to do." And she said, now this is a very honest, open interview when you guys hear it, because she says, "Patrick, I tried several things that y'all taught us in that class, and I still couldn't get a client. And then I tried the one thing that you told us was the easiest, fastest way that our licensees use to get clients. I networked with some of the people in my community. I was a lady who was actually calling on doctors selling some kind of products. And she said, "Hey, I know a lady who needs some help. She just told me the other day that she's having trouble with her billing." So that's how it works, is through connecting with people who know doctors. And we can show you how to do that, of course, in the training class. Yeah. But yeah, it's a huge market. This book is out on Amazon. You can go order it. I mean, it does tell you the basics of starting a medical claims billing service, but wow, ours is so much more than just medical billing, of course.
Well, I'm going to put up this number because these are big numbers, Patrick. I mean, $5.43 trillion, and and they say in the book that it's just showing no signs of slowing down.
And you know what? I always try to picture that as a pie chart. Now, how big a slice of that pie would you need? 5.43 trillion. It would be so tiny. It would be a real thin, like razor line.
Yeah.
And you'd still be making $100,000 a year. So yes, it's a huge market. I tell people it's 1/5 of our entire economy. So you can't get into anything that has a bigger market piece out there.
You bet. You bet. Well, one of the questions that everybody asks, Patrick, is this thing. First of all, Patrick, can I earn back my investment working from home in healthcare?
Yes, it's a definite yes. And again, folks, you don't have to take our word for it. I've interviewed over 60, maybe 70 people now over the years who've told us in their own words that they have gotten a return on investment in some of them 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, even a year. And I tell people, look, any business that gets you your return on your investment in a year, that's a successful business.
That's a successful business. You bet.
Yeah.
Well, here's how I have kind of laid out the webinar this afternoon. And I thought it would just be easy. I know a lot of people like to ask questions, but I thought I'd kind of kick off with 3 big questions this afternoon that we can kind of tackle. And we can take each of these in 3 sections as we kind of go through this afternoon. First of all, here's a great question. Why will a doctor even outsource to me? That's one question that we can tackle. What will I do to earn back that investment? What is the actual work? I think a lot of people kind of get worried about what am I doing? Am I doing billing? Am I doing coding? What am I doing? So I thought we could again answer that. And then the last one is, what is the true ROI, or the return on investment potential? So we'll save kind of the best for last, which is the money. But I think we that really ask this question, Patrick: why would a doctor even want to outsource to me, any brand new ABS licensee that just graduated from our training workshop?
Well, I tell people, look, the doctors don't realize sometimes that they are not getting all of the money that's collected, I mean, that they bill for, right? They may bill $100,000 in a month's time, but only collect 70,000 of that. Well, it sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but at the same time, they've got a lot of overhead and salaries and benefits and equipment and so forth to buy. But what about that 30,000 each month that was left on the table, so to speak? That comes from current billing people not being trained as medical revenue managers like we train people. Doctors do have people sometimes right there in their own office.
Yeah.
But you know how a lot of people don't realize that some of those folks, they only learn how to do it by coming to work and learning from somebody else. It's on-the-job training. It's not necessarily that these folks have any kind of degrees or backgrounds or anything like that. They were just in the office and were shown, hey, you can do the billing. Come on over here and I'll show you how. And so they do. But even if they've had some kind of training in the background, they still don't have our cloud-based system that has all the built-in clearinghouse and other features.
Well, I was going to say, it's nothing against these folks here. I mean, they're hired to do something, which is billing, but that's the end of it. And hopefully, as we'll kind of go through this afternoon, we'll show that we're actually in medical revenue management, not just medical billing. But when there are just people that are focused on just medical billing, these are some of the results that we see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a quote here from the New England Journal of Medicine. It doesn't get any more authoritative than that, right? Market analysts estimate that 24 cents out of every dollar, imagine, are wasted on the administrative and billing expenses. Now, Eric, that 24 cents out of every dollar, let's think about that for a moment. I just talked to Alice, for example. She actually bills this doctor 9% of what she collects from the doctor. So even that, though, compared to 24 cents out of every dollar, you see, saves the doctor money. So that's one reason, once you educate the doctor that it's going to cost you a whole lot less to do it in-house, they usually will switch.
Well, I know that we've used this guy once before, and this was from the U.S. News World Report, and he stated right there.
You don't want to try to say that last name, do you?
No. I'm gonna leave that one up to you.
Sharon Wattenko. Dr. Vern Sharon Wattenko.
Yeah, he finds himself spending $20 for every claim that goes out the door. So let's kind of go ahead.
He's an educated doctor on this, because if you ask the average doctor, they'll go, I don't know, it probably costs $2 or $3, $4 to bill, send a claim out. No, folks, it's $20 a claim, and I think this is a more than 1 or 2 year old article.
It is. So I thought we would use this chart right here, because this is very helpful for us to
that is a good
a breakdown, because I think this shows that where that $20 gets locked up in administrative fees, and as we can see here on payroll. So if we take a look at that first line, folks, and we're going to go through these numbers pretty in detail here in just a moment. But if you think about 100 claims per week at $100 times 52 weeks out of the year, and you're charging 6%, well, then the doctors end up going to pay you $31,200. Patrick, I mean, now let's just kind of go through the money that we see here on the doctor side.
Yeah. Well, look at all the expenses. I mean, counting 1.5 people, let's say, average at $15 an hour inside the doctor's office, there's $46,800 right there, Eric.
Right.
That's a whole lot more than $31,200. And by the way, that's at 6%. I haven't had time to do the math there, but if you took 100 claims times 52 weeks at $100 each times 7 or 8 or even 9%, it still wouldn't be $46,800.
Right.
Then you've got payroll taxes, workers' comp insurance, errors and omissions insurance. These are things that the doctor pays in-house to do his billing in-house. He's got training costs and leave coverage and employee benefits and hardware, software, IT support. All of that mounts up, and now we're at over $65,000 compared to the $31,200 that they would pay you to do their billing. Folks, can you see that bottom line? If you were a doctor, you'd look at this and go, I'd be crazy to keep this in-house. I'd be nuts.
And hopefully, Patrick, that kind of helps answer the question here. I'm going to go back over here. Doesn't the doctor already have their, I mean, here, if you had 2 paid staff members full time, and I'm sure these ladies are kind of, someone's doing some checking in, someone's taking insurance information, but obviously they're taking, there's a little credit card reader right there where they're taking payments. Someone's doing the billing out of this. So hopefully that kind of helps answer that question there. You know, why would a doctor continue to keep doing their billing in-house? I mean, and then if we take it even further, you've got this issue right here. And that's not even calculated into the numbers that we've kind of even started going through.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the rejection rate. Yes.
Yeah.
People don't realize that sometimes up to 30% of all the claims that are sent in are rejected on their first submission to an insurance company because, again, it has to be exactly done correctly with a software system that checks for errors and so forth. And a lot of people don't have that, so they're leaving 30% of their claims, unpaid, basically.
You bet. Now I put this up here, and obviously, folks, if you go look in your handout, you're going to have this slide on there, and you're going to see right down there at the bottom, HBMA is a large organization here that you can go find and actually read this article. Now, obviously, this article came back out in January 2016, but folks, again, this is just less than 2 years old, or just over 2 years old. And, this is very interesting, this article. You said average 30%, Patrick. And this guy says, when he first started in the medical billing field, things were simpler. Payers would occasionally change a rule and give you ample notice to adjust your process. Denials were less than 5% of total claims. But he says, fast forward today, where if you don't have some type of sophisticated claim scrubbing software, it's not unusual to have up to 35 or higher claim rejection rates. Patrick, that's considerable.
Yeah, and doctors don't know what they don't know. I always say, look, if you ask the average doctor, are you getting all the money that you billed? They will probably hesitate and say, well, probably not. I know there's some rejections. But if you try to pin them down on what that rejection rate is, they have no clue because nobody in the office is going to tell them, right? And their software might not even tell them. But all they know is that they're not getting everything. So the deceiving part about it is that they do get checks in the mail probably every day from an insurance company. But they don't know what they don't know, and that is that they're not getting 100% of what they bill. Or even what we do, of course, is reduce that 35% rejection rate down to less than 2%. Yeah. So money-wise, that means he's going to get up to 98% of his money.
You bet. And so to go through and help answer the question, why would a doctor even outsource to me? Well, Patrick, if a practice analysis is not done, and we're just trying to, and I think this is a failure that I think we see in a lot of our young ABS licensees. They try to go out there and sell the software. And if you try to go out there and just sell software, then you are missing the mark. The only way to hit the target is to do a practice analysis. So I pulled this up here, and Patrick, you could talk a little bit about this, and then on the next slide, I've got some of the results based off of this basically practice analysis questionnaire.
Yeah, we basically came up with this a few years back, folks, because what we wanted to do is to analyze what is the situation in the doctor's office. Maybe you can help them, maybe you can't. Maybe they don't need any help, right? We wouldn't know that unless we asked questions. So we developed, first it was a 1 page, then it went to 2, now it's 3, maybe 4, I don't know. But there's a lot of questions in there that you can ask. You can skip some of them, and we go over this in our training, by the way, question by question, and show you exactly what answers you can expect to get, what they mean, and so forth, because we want you to get a detailed analysis, because then once you have, you can fax that in to us or scan it in. We can take a look at it and give you some suggestions as to what to go back with them and what to offer them and how much to charge.
You bet. And then once you've got that data, then you got to put it in this report. And folks, if you're wanting to know why a doctor will outsource to you, look at the bottom part of that report.
Yeah, right down here in the bottom corner, it's the increased revenue per year if they switch to you doing the billing. This particular doctor could increase their revenue by $321,765. That's more than a drop in the bucket.
Right. And so hopefully, Patrick, what we've been able to do so far is help answer the question, why would a doctor outsource their billing to you? Number one, we've answered the question about if they already have their own people, why would they outsource to me? And we kind of addressed that because it's very costly to have people, employees. And then imagine if you can make these types of numbers happen, because folks, you can see right there, one of the questions that was found, if you'll look under where it says current and look down under the third line there, it says approximate rejection rate. Patrick, that's this clinic had an 18% rejection rate.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, we project 2% rejection rate, and you run those numbers here, and gosh, you've got a significant increase of revenue.
Yeah, and folks, this is from their own numbers. Remember, we take that from the answers they give us to that practice analysis you see on the left, and then you come back and plug those numbers into this report, and when you print this out and take it to the doctor, they all glance down there at that bottom line, believe me, and that does all the selling. It's a done deal at that point. If I were a doctor, I'd go, you know, if you could do half that for me, I'd be able to, you know, buy that new car I've been wanting, that new Tesla.
Well, at least it starts that next dialogue, which is, if you can do that, how are you going to do that? And I don't think we address it here in this webinar, but that's where us here at ABS support is when we're helping those doctors and our licensees, and we get online with them through a go-to meeting, and we help assist that licensee through a demonstration of our software showing how we actually get to those numbers.
Yep.
So I think we've answered that first question very well, as best as we can this afternoon. The second question that was there is, what will I do to earn back my investment? So again, you know, people are just going, okay, what am I going to do? So I thought I'd illustrate this out just a little bit. And the first thing we're going to do is help you get the best software solution for that doctor into their clinic, having all four of these components here. And I know the questions are coming up. What if the doctors don't want to change their software? I think we kind of answered that question through the practice analysis. If the doctor's going, how can you do that for me? Well, obviously, this is the way that we do it.
Right. Yeah, we do it using a system, folks, that's fully integrated. As you can see, we have the practice management system, which is basically what you would use, of course, to do the billing. We've got the EMRX, which is the electronic medical records, which is what the doctor uses to put some information into the system. And then, of course, once we're ready to submit that claim, you send it through the clearinghouse. Now, we also have the patient portal, which is, again, all tied in together. This software is all written by the exact same programmers, folks. This is not pieced together like a puzzle from different things. That patient portal is a wonderful way for the patient to have control over their medical records, their prescriptions, all their visits and appointments, and they can even have virtual meetings with the doctor, just like Eric and I are doing right here.
You bet. Yeah.
We just have you thousands of people watching and listening to us, but normally it'd just be between you and the doctor.
You bet. And so whether the doctor's using an EMR system like ours, or they may be actually using some old technology like a piece of paper, it doesn't matter. Like I'm showing you here, what you're going to be doing is taking that information, again, whether it's a paper super bill like this or it's from the EMR system, what you're going to do, I'm going to show you here real quickly as best I can. In these screenshots here, you're going to just go into the iClaim billing platform. You're going to call up that patient's name that you need to do the billing for. Go under here where it says billing and go enter the charges. Once you're there, we have all the new codes there. I think, Patrick, that's what a lot of people are always wondering. What about the codes? Am I going to have to be a coder? You know, am I going to have to, is the system always updated with the right codes? So first of all, let's answer that first question. Do I have to be a coder, Patrick?
Absolutely not. In fact, it's probably a disadvantage in today's world with this type of technology. Folks, all you need to do is have the right system that even suggests the codes to the doctor while they're using the electronic medical record system. And then once they've selected the code out of the choices they have, as Eric's going to illustrate here, you can enter that into the system, and all of a sudden, boom, it comes up with everything just from the numbers that the doctor has given you for those codes. So it's their responsibility to give you the codes, not you. You're not a coder, although we do have certified medical coders who that work with us to help you get the right codes if the doctor does need help with code.
You bet. And we're going to go through those numbers here just quickly, and I'm going to show that to you, because we haven't even gotten to the point of how you're actually going to get your return on your investment. All we're doing right now is just kind of showing you what you would be doing. And then once you're through with that, you're going to create that claim. You're going to click that button, which would be down at the bottom of that previous slide that we were on. And then, folks, once you click that create claim, you're actually done with the billing, and you move on to the next one. Obviously, there'll be some back end work that you're going to have to do. You got to post the payments as they come in, and take care of your administrative work, which is making sure the doctor's getting paid. But processing claims is going to be one of the easiest things that you'll ever do.
Yeah, and if you come down to our training, of course, you'll be hearing from our current instructor. Our lead instructor is a lady named Cynthia Anderson. She is one of our licensees, has been for now, Eric, can you believe this? 10 years, 2008, she came to our training. And she's built her business to the point where she has 11 people working for her. They do thousands and thousands of claims every month for doctors, and some of them in different parts of the country, because they don't have to be local. You can do it long distance too.
Yeah, you bet. So I thought we've gotten through all that we need to get through in the first 30 minutes. I figured the last 30 minutes of the webinar, let's just dive right down here and ask this big question: what is the ROI potential? So
yeah, and you know, we have this on our website that Eric's going to show you here. It's funny because you can figure this out on your own. That's right. We let you plug in your own numbers to our calculator that's built into our website there. And once you do, you'll see the answer to this question for yourself based on the numbers you think they ought to be.
Right. So what we're going to do here is show you. We're going to get right into it. So folks, like Patrick just said, if you haven't been out to our website, go to our website, absystems.com. You'll see right on the home page, right there where it says income potential. Click that button right there where it says medical billing income calculator. Then you can plug in your numbers. Now, Patrick, you and I know that the average doctor is going to see maybe 20 or 25, maybe 30, 35 patients a day. But we try to keep it right about 20, 25 patients a day. It's an average number of patients in a daily time. They're open 5 days a week, 6% of an average claim amount of $100. I mean, that's about as simple as we can make it at this point.
Yeah, but again, folks, you can plug in your own numbers. Let's say that you think, you know what, I could charge 9% for the doctors, or maybe you want it to be lower than 6%. You can plug in any number you want to in there, but the average claim amount may be low. If you're billing for a specialist, that claim average might be $350 for each claim.
Right.
So again, play around with the numbers. If something doesn't make sense, there's a little description there below this that you can't see on the screenshot that'll explain to you what these numbers are and how to come up with them. And once you do, and once you hit the submit button there, boom, it shows you exactly how much money you could be making from this doctor. Now, folks, remember, this is one office, one medical office is all we're doing here, not two. You might want a dozen. I just talked to Alice, by the way, who said her goal at the end. I asked, what her goal is. She says, I want to have 15 clients.
15 clients.
But she says, my husband wants 100. So I said, well, tell him to sign up those other 85 and he can do the billing for those. But look at this, folks. Can you see that number there? It's real tiny, right in the middle. Total yearly gross income. That's before some expenses you might have. $39,000 on this one office from the example we just gave you. Now, we're not guaranteeing that anybody could make this kind of money, but I guarantee if you do the interviews I've done, you'll hear people making way more than this amount of money too.
Yeah, and we're very conservative with our numbers, and the numbers that we're actually going to go through on some of the this and some of the other services, again, are very conservative. But Patrick, again, we're trying to answer the question: what is my return on investment potential? Well, we've just shown that with one doctor. The investment for a brand new licensee is $26,990, right at $27,000. Patrick, that certainly covers at least the initial investment, and now you're already in the black, possibly within the first year.
Absolutely. In fact, it covers your trip down here to Texas, and the hotel stay and everything. That you would make
Sure.
a whole lot more money, folks, from one client that you would invest in our business, assuming you had the numbers, of course, that we just saw there. So Eric's going to go step by step through that to kind of really help this sink in. This is very important that you understand how lucrative this business can be.
Well, folks, again, we just told you how to plug in these numbers. I mean, obviously, there's some folks that up there in our webinar that's very analytic, and they want to kind of get, how did you get to those numbers? Well, again, let's talk about that. Let's say that, again, you got one doctor who's seeing 25 patients a day. And then again, obviously, those 100 patients at $100 times 25 a day, the doctor in and of itself, Patrick, is collecting about $2,500 a day. Now, as we kind of just start to go through these numbers, so let these numbers kind of sink in. You can do your own math as you kind of go through that, because there's nothing that's hidden on the backside of our website. We're trying to expose that. We're trying to be transparent to show you what and why, how we come up with these numbers. So if you had $2,500 a day that you're helping that doctor collect, remember, you're going to be charging 6%. Now, Patrick, I mean, what's her name, Alice, she's charging 9%. I mean, she's doing better than average with most folks, because most people, again, are averaging 6%. But if
we're using that 6%, folks, because that's on the low end.
Yes.
7-8% is more typical in most cases, sometimes 9%, but yeah, we're on the low end here. We want to be conservative and not blow it out of the water here.
You bet. So if you got an average percentage of 6%, your average potential earnings is $150 a day. And here's the great thing about that. Look at this, folks. That's for working less than 90 minutes a day. Now, gosh, Patrick, I mean, if we think about it, that's $150 a day for working less than 2 hours a day. That's what's going to generate $39,000 a year for one doctor.
That's right. Now, folks, let that sink in just for a moment. For 90 minutes of work, you're earning $150. This is if you just have one doctor doing 25 claims a day at $100 a claim. But folks, you can do a whole lot more than that. Obviously, you have more than 90 minutes in your day, right? And if you put in the same amount of time now that you're putting in traveling to your current job and coming back home again, add that time in now, plus the time you're there at the office, you could be making a whole lot more than $150 a day. And
you're not making any money traveling there. You're not making any money coming back from there. So it's interesting. Kim just asked the question right before I put this slide up. On average, for the one doctor, how much time are we putting in a week? Well, you know, it's 90. Say if it's 2 hours a day, well, that'd be 10 hours a week. So, all right. So let's dive into it a little bit more. Again, your average earnings is $150 a day times 5 days per week. $750 per week times 52 weeks. There's how we get the number. So if you just want to know the math behind the $39,000, there you go. There's the math.
Right. I'm just double checking to make sure you're right there. No, that's exactly right. 750 a week times 52 weeks is $39,000. Now, folks, remember, we said earlier that this is a gross revenue, but think about the expenses that you have. If you're working out of your home, you don't have rent. You probably have a phone you're paying for anyway, right? You have a computer. You'd have to do the billing, of course. There's just not a lot of overhead in this business. It's labor. You're getting paid for your labor. The 5 days times 90 minutes, or even 2 hours. For 10 hours a week, you're making $39,000. Now, folks, I always tell people, look, you just decide how many of these doctors, remember, this is one medical practice, one doctor. How many of these do you need to replace your current income?
Right. Well, we're going to look at that too. But if you think about it, if we just backed it up or maybe added the extra 30 minutes to that, Patrick, and we were doing 2 hours a day, you're making $150 a day working 2 hours. Isn't that $75 an hour?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure my math was correct on that.
You got it, buddy. It's a good thing we're double checking one another, because I flunked algebra about 3 times in college. So.
But folks, I mean, there's nowhere in the United States, I think, where you can make $75 an hour at a part-time business. So just again, which begs the question, is it worth it for you to go out there and go get your doctor? I mean, think about it. I mean, even if it took you 6 months to go get that doctor,
right?
I mean, that would be my goal. $75 an hour. It's not bad.
And once you have that first doctor, of course, that same doctor is going to be billing the same number average claims every week, every month, you see. And so that's residual income. You don't have to continue generating business. That doctor's going to generate it for himself, and then you get a percentage of that.
You bet. So again, you hit it off just a minute ago. What if we add 3 doctors to our total suite? So that's less than 8 hours a day working from home. Let's look at what those numbers are. So if we take the same numbers that we did before in our income potential calculator, and the only number we changed was the number of doctors that you would have as a client. Drum roll. I mean, this is a pretty good drum roll here.
Because here's that magic 6 figures that everybody's looking for. And folks, look, even if you had $17,000 in some kind of expenses, you've still got $100,000 that you brought into your own business, working at home in your underwear, or maybe pajamas. It doesn't get any easier and better than this, folks, from a home business. Now, I say home business, obviously people like Cynthia, she's got 11 people working for her, so she's opened an office. She does pay, $500-600, I think, for a little office space. You can build this as big as you want, but you can also keep it as small too. You can do 3 doctors yourself.
And again, Patrick, this is less than 6 hours or right at 6 hours a day. So if someone's looking for maybe some part-time / full-time work, for most Americans, I mean, bringing in an average monthly gross income of $9,700 a month, a lot of people would like that kind of money right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good money. So again, we've got $117,000 with working with 3 doctors. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because Patrick, you and I have not looked at these numbers, I bet you, in 3 years. This is why it's so important that the people that are on the webinar today, is so important that they're on here, because now we're going to start to add in some of our other services.
Yeah, see, we haven't talked about this much, Eric. I mean, we mentioned the services, but as far as what kind of money can be made, we haven't gone into this. So, folks, this is a good one. We record all of these, of course, so this is one you want to go back to and watch again, take some notes, and show it maybe to a partner or a spouse. Yeah. This will get their interest, believe me.
And so, folks, what we did, we've kind of chosen a few of these. Now, we didn't look at all of these because we know that not all doctors will get all of these services. The numbers that we have been double checked by our Director of Operations here at American Business Systems, based upon our virtual brochure that you can find online. So what we've done here is made this as easy as possible for you to see, again, the potential revenue that you can make and the ROI that you can make. Now, what I'm going to tell you here is that the services that we're going to show you, Patrick, a lot of this is mailbox money, kind of that mailbox money, which means that you're not doing anything except getting the doctor on these services.
Right, and then you're making this residual income from each one of these services as well. And like he says, that's just a check you go out of the mailbox and get each month and deposit it. It didn't do a thing for it, because once they're set up, they're automatic. Like QUICKCOLLECT, this is a great service, Eric. I think this was our first ancillary service that we came up with for licensees, because the doctors always said, well, look, I do have a bunch of money out there that I don't know how to collect from patients. Patients have a big portion sometimes that they're billed, and if they don't pay it, of course, then the doctor has to figure out, do we make phone calls? Do we send out more invoices demanding money and turn it over to a collection agency? Well, folks, QUICKCOLLECT eliminates that. This is an online cloud-based system that allows you to automatically collect this money. You're not a collection agency. You're not making phone calls. You don't even send out the letters. The letters come from the system itself. And Eric, we collect 3 times what the collection agencies would normally collect on this service.
You bet.
It's that good.
So, yeah. So let's take a look at the numbers here. So remember, what we're going to show you right now, this is the money that you will potentially make. And what we've done is, since we started with those 3 doctors, let's say that you work with each of these 3 doctors and you get every one of those doctors on each of these services, because I'm telling you, every doctor could use each of these services. So let's first of all take a look at it. If you got QUICKCOLLECT for 3 doctors each, and let's just say that they're only dealing with 24 accounts per month. You as a licensee, on average, you'll be making $7.50 per account per month. So if you take those numbers there, so you take the 3 times the 24, that gets your 72 accounts a month at $7.50. Patrick, you're making $540 a month in residual income. Now, right off the top, that doesn't look like a lot of money, but folks, you're doing nothing to get this money. And that's total annual potential money. That's $6,400 or over $6,400 a year just on this one thing here called QUICKCOLLECT.
Hey, that's a pretty nice vacation right there.
Yeah, that's a good vacation.
Or a down payment on a car, I mean, oh heck, you could buy some used cars for that, I guess. But the point is, folks, that this is mailbox money, true residual income that you don't do a thing for. And by the way, Eric, I hadn't seen this till today, but I don't know where you got the 24 accounts. Some doctors have hundreds of accounts that they could turn over to you.
Yeah, so we're just
on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, so folks, I mean, Patrick's talking about buying a car. What if you leased a car? Patrick, I mean, somebody's going to lease a nice car at $540 a month. I'm telling you.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So if you're into cars, I mean, you might be into something. You might just say, I'm sticking this. All this is my retirement money every year, like clockwork.
Exactly. Retirement money. It could be college tuition money if you've got kids.
Who knows? Yeah. However you want to use it, obviously, that's yours. Right. So this is potential revenue for QUICKCOLLECT. Now let's go to another service, AUTOCARD. Now, Patrick, if you can't get this done, I mean, this is one of the simplest things that every doctor could use. And again, you talk about clockwork money coming in with your 3 doctors. AUTOCARD is just an automated system to help you with your doctor to send out reminder visits for their patients. Has anybody ever gotten a card from their doctor saying, hey, it's time for your annual checkup?
Right. Yeah, these are full color, personalized. That means you can set it up and have it say anything you want it to say. You can even put the doctor's signature on the cards that go out. And folks, they actually go out in a card-shaped envelope with a stamp on them. I mean, yeah. It looks like maybe a birthday card from the doctor's grandmother. I mean, he doesn't know what it is. But the office managers and the patients who get these cards are they're forced to open them. You don't throw away a card that could have a check from your grandmother for $5 in it, right? So you keep that and you open it. And once they do, they're reminded automatically of their next visit, or it could be just a thank you card. Hey, we're just thinking about you, and if you time for your, blah blah checkup or shot or whatever. Yeah, right. It's a wonderful follow-up marketing system for the doctor. And as you can see at the bottom there, you can also use that service for your own use in promoting your own business to doctors. We'll show you how to do that, of course, in our training.
Certainly can. So look, let's take our same 3 doctors. Let's say that each of those doctors want to do this with 200 patients a month, which is no big deal. I mean, this is something that obviously this is a low number. We've seen this happen with many of our licensees. That's total of 600 cards mailed per month. You as a licensee, you're making $1 per card going out of that. Actually, that's $600 a month, $7,200 a year on just, again, what we would call, you're not billing. This is just money coming in.
That's right. And this is an automated system, again, online in the cloud. You don't have to do a thing. Once you set up these patients on their automated follow-up schedule, the cards just go out. Nobody does anything. Computers and printers on the backside that you'll never see. The cards just show up in the mail, and the patients absolutely love it. So do the doctors.
And think about it, folks. You might not even be doing billing for 3 doctors. This could be 3 separate doctors, or add this to however many you want. All right,
That's
we
right.
got to get ready. I mean, we got 10 minutes before the top of the hour, so let's keep going. iDocs now. I know this is very important. It's important for us here at ABS. We don't have any, file drawers. We don't keep anything paper. But for doctors, they must keep all their records for a minimum of 7 years. This system allows them to store all of their paper stuff. Now, this is separate from electronic medical records, folks, but because a lot of doctors are still having paper, they're going to continue to keep having paper. They got to keep those records for seven years. Here's a service that they can use. And here's the number.
So we're talking about archiving materials that are in the doctor's office. They may not refer to it much, but they got to keep it because of the law. And this gives them an opportunity to put it in the cloud where they can access it from any device that's connected to the internet anywhere in the world at any time.
You bet. And again, folks, you can go look at these numbers on our virtual brochure. This is where we pulled these numbers from. But again, if you have your 3 doctors, each licensee, you're gonna make $100 per month on the service. Obviously, that's $300 a month, $3,600 a year. Patrick, these numbers are adding up. I hope people are kind of getting where we're going with all of this. So this is, again, potential revenue for iDocs now. Again, you're not doing any billing. It's just a service that's automatically happening.
That's right. And remember, I don't think we're even going to cover all of them today, but there's a total of about 7 different services that you can offer.
Yep.
Okay.
We're just looking. These last 2 have to do with coding. So that's why I saved the best for last.
Yeah, so, folks, a lot of people doctors who see Medicare patients, they're kind of under the microscope, so to speak, in that they can be fined up to $10,000 for anything that's an infraction of the Medicare rules. In other words, if they've over-coded for a visit, maybe the visit was only 15 minutes, but they coded for 30 minutes, they can get in trouble for that. And yes, these things come out up. There have been doctors fined $1 million when Medicare comes in and audits them.
So let's look at this. Now, this is pretty good because what you would want to do is get your 3 doctors to, if they're doing their own coding, then this is if they're not using our EMR system or they're using some other source, you want to make sure that they are staying within the boundaries. So imagine if you had your 3 doctors, each review is at the top is 50, it's a 50 chart review per doctor, and you as a licensee will make $900 on each of those reviews. Now again, you may not do 4 a year, but on average, this is not out of the question. But if you had your 3 doctors that's doing 4 reviews, that's 12 reviews a year at $900. That's pretty good money, and that's $10,800 per year that you're making on that. So that's just a little over $10,000 a year that you're making on AUTOCARD. And again, you're doing nothing except giving the doctor this particular service. Lastly, CodeWrite. Again, for doctors who still want to use you as a coder and you want to be the coding service for the doctor, we have certified professional coders as one of the services that you have. Now, folks, remember, you're investing $27,000 here with us at American Business Systems. These coders are for you at your service to use at any time. So you're getting all of these services. We're not piecemealing this together. It's not $27,000 plus each of these services at another $5,000 or $6,000. You're getting everything that we're showing you so far at the $27,000 mark. Again, for time's purposes, Patrick, let's still say that you've got 3 doctors, each with 400 of those reviews. That's each licensee. You're gonna make 50 cents on each of those reviews. Now, remember, we were taking 100, those 400 a month for each of those doctors. That's 1,200 reviews per month at 50 cents. You're making $600 a month, $7,200 a year. So let's add all of those up. Here is the total potential working with your 3 doctors, not using all 9 services, using 5 out of the 9 that are there.
6. Oh, no, and this is Ackling. No, you're right. It's just Ackling plus 5 others.
Yeah.
Right.
And so one of the things, Patrick, that Jordan and I were talking about before we kind of got on here, this is just over 5 times the amount that's invested. So if you take the $26,990, the $27,000 times that by 5, that's $130 something thousand. You're making 5 times of your investment working with your 3 doctors on these different services.
Yeah, it's over 5.5 times the investment.
But 5.5 times.
Bad. Not bad for a home-based business.
Absolutely. Not bad for a home-based business. So,
Eric, this has been wonderful data. I hope people took lots of notes, and we'll grab that. I guess you're going to, yeah, it's in there already in the handout section, isn't it? Grab that, folks. Grab that. Show that to your partner or spouse, and hope I see you at one of our upcoming trainings. Eric, I got to run, but thanks again for putting all this together.
You're welcome. Thanks so much, Patrick. We'll see you in a little bit. All right.